Where does bad light go? To prism. That makes absolutely no sense. So hi! This month I read Hopeless by Colleen Hoover, and I'm gonna talk about it today because this was kind of requested. It wasn't requested, but I have some thoughts about this and I know a lot of people have read it, so I kind of wanted to share those thoughts and get a discussion going. I just said the word discussion, however this is going to be a non-spoiler video, so feel free to watch even if you haven't read it. I'm just gonna share my thoughts about this because I'm kind of conflicted. So Hopeless is about a girl named Sky. There's honestly no plot to it other than the fact that she meets a boy and then memories of her past start to resurface as she gets close to him. It's kind of cliche. That's about all I can tell you for a synopsis without spoiling it. And let's just get on into my review. I'm just gonna say right now, this video is gonna consist mainly of things that I have bad to say about it, which doesn't go to say that I didn't like it, but I just felt like I needed to get out some of these negative thoughts I have about it. I did give this book 4 stars. I thought it was an okay book. I liked it. Was it my favorite? No. Will I continue to read Colleen Hoover? Absolutely. So once again, I'm just gonna start off and say the things I did like about it, then we can go on to the stuff that I didn't enjoy. I read this book in one night, and I was up till 3 AM finishing it, so I was reading it off and on in one day. It took me less than 24 hours because I just could not put this book down. That being said, I didn't think the writing was amazing. I've heard so much about Colleen Hoover, like, oh my gosh, her writing is so great. I thought it was average. I mean, I didn't notice her writing style that I would from any other author. It was just kind of like, alright. But that being said, it was fast, and so I did enjoy that about it. The relationship in this book is so complex, and I have a lot of problems with it, but one thing that I did like about it was the way it was spaced out, and how it wasn't insta-love and fast, and they had boundaries, and it was very thought out and not going too fast, and that's one thing that I really applaud about it, is that it is a very slow-moving relationship. So now let's get into the things that I was not so keen on. One thing that I really didn't like at the beginning of this book was that I noticed very quickly the feminist Whitney came out, and there was slang in this that I just rubbed me the wrong way. There was a lot of slut-shaming in the beginning, like the two best friends would call each other that, and then whenever she first attended public school for the first time after homeschool, she kind of had a reputation of being a slut, and I hate using that word, and I hate it being seen, or I hate seeing it. So there was just a lot of that word being thrown around, and I was like, can we not? Additionally, like I said, there was a lot of slang that they used humorously that I didn't agree with, using words like calling someone a pussy, or a guy being whipped about his girlfriend, or like he described an alcoholic drink as a frou-frou girly drink, and just little things like that. I was like, So that was just like a minor thing that a lot of the humor in this book just kind of irked me because of the way it was done. Every single relationship in this book, which is between Sky and her best friend and Sky and Holder, the love interest, it's very insult-based humor, and that is not something I enjoy or do or read. And that's one of the reasons why I really didn't like some of these characters, or I did like them, but I just couldn't find myself relating to them because all the relationships were formed upon the fact of they would insult each other, and then that would be funny, and they would love each other for it, and that just is not something I relate to. That's not something I support. I don't see the lovey-dovey value in that, so reading it, I was just kind of like, okay. So these characters are well developed, and I was able to understand them, and they were fun to read about, but if I knew them in person, I would not be friends with them. I probably wouldn't like them or hang with them. That's why I couldn't relate to them. Big issue I had with this book, which is probably the #2 thing that brought it down for me, is I had very conflicted feelings about Holder. Holder in the beginning of the book is very intense, and even Sky recognizes this. I'm sorry, my hair is just not being friends today with me. He comes on very strong to her, and he's very creepy, and from that moment I didn't trust him, and there's really nothing redeeming about him that made me not untrust him. Does that make sense? I didn't trust him the rest of the book just because at the beginning, for the first half of this book, he's like this really intense, creepy dude. I I think it was kind of irritating to read about that, and then Sky thinking, oh my gosh, he's so weird, but I'm so attracted to him, it doesn't matter. And that really got under my skin. I was like, no. So that's again just a reason why Sky and I couldn't really relate, because she acted differently than I would have. Holder is very, I don't want to say demanding, but he's very I need. And that's a sentence he uses a lot. Like, there's several times in this book where he says, I need to kiss you. And it's like, it came off very uncomfortable for me to read. And I guess after reading Easy by Tamara Weber, I read that book this month earlier and I absolutely loved it, and I loved how there was so much consent in it. So I guess transitioning from that to this, I was just very uneasy. Holder seemed extremely almost obtrusive compared to Easy, so I guess I just was wanting more of that communication. And a lot of the problems I had with the relationship is that I think it was very badly timed. The book, like I said, gets very intense toward the end, and there's a lot of different conflicts occurring, and I feel like in such a dramatic setting we should not have had that relationship in there. Sky always suffered and then looked to Holder for comfort, but I felt like that was very unhealthy and Holder just let it occur. I think there was so much trauma in this book that she didn't really need a boyfriend at that time. Like, I really wish that they could have just put things on hold, but then again, like, if that would have occurred, there would be no book because the relationship would just not exist, which that's probably why my #1 reason is for not liking this book, because with all the events occurring, there shouldn't be any sort of relationship. It was so badly timed, and it was so almost gross to be transitioning from such an intense scene of flashbacks and bad memories and just like really heavy topics, and then literally the chapter after that she's like, At the end of this book, I just feel like the police should have been contacted and they never were. I just really disagreed with how the topics in this book were handled. Holder kind of tried to be her comfort, like, it's okay, you're alright, we can get through this together, but it's like, she needs help. Like, she needs to see someone, she needs to contact the police for things that have happened, and Holder just kind of brushes it off, like, if you do this, then there'll be bad consequences, and just know I love you, but do the right thing. And it's like, trying not to get her to act on it, which I really disagreed with, and I know that if you've read this book, you know the big things that occur, and I just wish they could have been handled better and Holder had stopped acting like he could fix all of it himself, because they're really traumatic events and they go back all the way into her childhood, and she's gonna need professional help to help get over this and not just some boy kissing her. So overall, that's just kind of the impression I got from it. So many people told me I would cry during this, and I didn't get teary once. So I don't know if I was just not feeling this book, or if it just wasn't sad for me, or what the deal is, but typically I cry reading anything. So I don't know, I guess I just had a disconnect with this book because I disagreed with a couple of moral things. I loved the scenes between Holder and Sky, even if they were inconveniently placed. I just thought they had such a passionate connection. It does get kind of smutty, and I'm just gonna say, I'm not gonna lie, I enjoyed it. Thank you all for watching this video. Leave a comment down below if you read this book and let me know what you thought about it. Until next time, thank you. I just hit myself in the braid. Cool, whatever. I'll see you next time. Bye everyone.